As investigators learned more about Kaitlin Armstrong from her boyfriend Colin, the focus of the investigation began shifting in an entirely new direction.
What else did Colin tell you about buying a gun?
We learned he had purchased 2 handguns, one for himself and one for her. And he told us the guns were 9mm handguns. The caliber that was used in the murder was a 9mm.
So did Kaitlin become a focus of the investigation at that point?
At that point, we were realizing, okay, Kaitlin now has the motive. There is the means. She's got the weapons in the house. So that was kind of the turning point of, okay, we need to actually really look at her at this point.
Austin police were able to arrest Armstrong at her home on an outstanding unrelated warrant and questioned her at police headquarters. But before the interview could begin, Detective Connor was informed the arrest warrant was invalid.
Apparently that warrant, the date of birth was wrong. You're not under arrest, okay?
Detective Connor tried to keep her engaged.
Did you hear about what's happened over the past 24 hours?
Colin walked in the house and said one of the women in the cycling community passed away.
Yes. It sounds like maybe he went out with this girl the other day, and maybe it sounds like from what he's saying that you were a little upset about it. I want to make sure that's not the case.
That is not accurate.
Your vehicle was seen next to her house. I want to be able to explain, okay, there's a logical explanation for this.
Whenever I confronted her about her vehicle being in the area, she kind of nods in agreement. There was no denials.
Is there any explanation as far as why the vehicle would be over there?
I would like to leave. I'm free to leave.
There was no emotion. She had almost this cold, just deep stare that just goes right through you.
Investigators obtained a search warrant for Colin's home and located the 2 guns.
Both of them were 9mm handguns. So we ended up taking both of them to test, and the gun that belonged to Kaitlin was identified as a handgun that was highly likely to have been used in the murder and be connected to those shell cartridges.
So now I know that this gun found inside of Colin's house was used to murder Moriah Wilson. I know where Colin was, and I have him on video, but Kaitlin, she also had access to it. We don't know where she was. So I wrote the arrest warrant for Kaitlin based off of that information.
Colin was cleared in Moriah's murder, but when police went to arrest his girlfriend, Kaitlin Armstrong, a few days later, she was nowhere to be found.
Her social media had been shut down. She wasn't answering phone calls. Colin hadn't even reached her. So we had no idea where she was at.
Investigators soon learned she had sold her black Jeep Grand Cherokee for $12,200 and skipped town.
We discovered that she had taken a flight from Austin up to New York to visit her sister.
But when Armstrong's unsuspecting sister was questioned, she told investigators that Kaitlin was already gone and heading back home to Austin.
We couldn't figure out where she was, and so we started looking at the sister's name because they did look very similar. And that was when we discovered, okay, a flight had been booked under the sister's name.
Armstrong had evaded law enforcement again and flown to San Jose, Costa Rica.
They sent U.S. Marshals over to Costa Rica to actually get on the ground and start looking for her. They were able to narrow it down to an area that they believe she was in.
But it wasn't easy to find her. The 35-year-old yoga instructor had changed her appearance.
She had cut her hair, she had dyed her hair brown, and she had a bandage on her nose where it appeared she actually had nose surgery as well.
It took U.S. Marshals 43 days to locate her in a tiny town called Santa Teresa.
Once they were able to get close to her, they were able to immediately recognize, okay, this is her.
She told the marshals her name was Ari Martin, but she eventually revealed her identity before being extradited back to the U.S.
They brought her back to Houston, and I actually went down to Houston to try to re-interview her.
But Armstrong would not cooperate and lawyered up.
So did Kaitlin ever even acknowledge her role in the crime or show any remorse?
At no point did she ever take any responsibility, and she never showed any remorse.
Investigators built a strong case against Armstrong.
We located Moriah's bike down the road, and it ended up having DNA on it that came back to Kaitlin Armstrong.
Navigational data from her recovered Jeep showed her circling around the crime scene just before the murder, and it plotted her route back home before pulling into her driveway at around 9:48 p.m.
Was there ever any doubt in your mind that Kaitlin Armstrong was guilty of murder?
Absolutely not. We actually had a lot of evidence in this case.